Hey everybody, welcome to Owl Zone, a weekly sports update where we bring you the latest info and highlights on your Kennesaw State Owls. I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day. We're your hosts. I'm Danielle Jackson.
And I'm Savannah Pratt. And in case you've missed any of the action from this past week, we've got you covered. Let's dive right into the highlights. The 19th ranked men's baseball team opened their 2015 season this past weekend at the Stillwell Baseball Stadium. The Owls hosted Liberty University on Friday, where they defeated the Flames 11-9. On Saturday, the men took the field to compete in a doubleheader against St. John's University. The Owls fell 2-6 in their first game, but they closed the second game with a 10-5 victory over the Red Storm. Be sure to catch the baseball team in action on Tuesday as they take on UGA.
Owls on 3, 1, 2, 3. Owls!
Women's golf competed in the Florida State matchup over the weekend, where they tied with number 16 ranked Texas A&M for 5th place in team standings. The Owls beat out number 42 Coastal Carolina and number 38 Florida State in their performance over the weekend. Way to go, Owls. The women will compete again on March 2nd in the Hurricane Invitational.
Women's softball took the field over the weekend to host the 2015 Phyllis Rafter Memorial Tournament. The Owls opened the weekend with a 4-0 loss to IUPUI on Friday. Saturday proved to be a much better day for the Owls as they collected a 5-1 win over Morehead State. Women's softball closed the tournament on Saturday with a 9-8 victory over number 5 Kentucky. Women's softball will be back in action on Friday to compete in the Pirate Invitational.
The women's basketball team traveled to Jacksonville, Florida to compete in 2 conference games over the course of the weekend. On Thursday, the women suffered a 73-70 loss to Jacksonville University. The Owls would, however, redeem themselves with a 64-52 win over North Florida on Saturday. Sophomore Ariane Smith recorded 19 points to lead the Owls in their victory over the Ospreys. Women's basketball will be back at the Convocation Center on Thursday to take on Florida Gulf Coast University.
The men's basketball team hosted North Florida and Jacksonville this past weekend at the Convocation Center. On Thursday, the Owls defeated Jacksonville 78-65 to sweep the Dolphins in regular season action. Junior Yonnell Brown led the way with 29 points in the contest, while Nigel Pruitt added 19 points for the Owls. On Saturday, the Owls fell to North Florida 67-51 to close out the weekend. The men will be back in action on the road Thursday against FGCU.
Men's tennis headed to South Florida over the weekend to compete in 2 matches. On Friday, the men took a 7-0 loss to 71-ranked Miami. The Owls returned to action on Sunday to take on Florida Atlantic. The men came up short in a 6-1 battle to close their 2-match weekend. Men's tennis will take the courts again on Saturday to host Liberty at Kenworth Park. Women's tennis saw action over the weekend as well. The Owls were defeated 6-1 against Armstrong Atlantic on Friday, and the women took a tough 4-3 loss to Georgia Southern on Saturday. Women's tennis will be back in action on Wednesday, February the 25th against Georgia State.
Women's lacrosse took on Winthrop in its home opener on Tuesday at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. The Owls fell 18-5 in the contest against the Eagles. On Sunday, the women traveled to North Carolina where they took a 21-4 setback to Davidson. The Owls will be back in action on Sunday, February 22nd to host Delaware State at Fifth Third Bank Stadium.
It's been a great week for the Owls.
Yes, it has.
Now let's check out the top 3 plays. Coming in at number 3 is Yonnell Brown, going coast to coast and finding teammate Jordan Jones in transition for an easy layup. At number 2 this week is sophomore Corey Gleason with a 3-run homer in the win over St. John's on Saturday at Stillwell Stadium. And coming in at number 1 this week is Athletic Director Vaughn Williams and the Outstations with their rendition of My Girl.
I got a sweeter song than the birds in the trees.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at KSU Owl Vision to be the first to see next week's episode.
Also be sure to follow us on Twitter at KSU Owl Nation and like us on Facebook at Kennesaw State Owls.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Owl Zone.
I'm Danielle Jackson.
And I'm Savannah Pratt. And as always, go Owls!